I have been dying to work on this painting again. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with it, other than I think I want to add more of this blue, and I want some variety with some smaller blooms and stuff. So I don't know. Let's just get started and see what happens, because that's what I always say, right? Let's just see what happens. I have got, what is this color? Light blue, violet, and phthalo blue. I'm going to mix up. That's a lot of phthalo blue. I think I'm only seeing that because of the Sharpie marker that's underneath there. Well, maybe we'll reinforce that a little. Maybe we'll brighten those blooms up, but I'm afraid that they'll look too bright. But, here's the thing. It's just paint. Just paint. We can always paint over it. It's not like I don't know that, but it's also like, yeah, I want to paint. Like I want to get the colors like solided up and be like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost afraid that that doesn't have enough color now. Darn it. What if we... And I am going to attempt really desperately to just do very loose marks, because I'm getting frustrated with my tendency to try to polish up all the marks. It's kind of driving me nuts. It's been a theme in my art though my whole life, especially as I started really taking on painting as a serious sort of thing. Definitely been like, oh god, I gotta clean that up and stuff, instead of just letting things be sort of weird and interesting. What I'm doing there is adding some sort of a little bit of value. I might touch this with like a hint of that later. It didn't come out as light as I wanted because I still have a bunch of paint on my brush. And I'm going to see about rambling on a little bit in this video. See about talking. I really want to put something out here because I'm thinking about getting rid of this ginormous guy there. So here, let's just do it. Just do it. What's the worst thing that happens? These little guys down here, maybe? Okay, so what I have going on here is very much of a primary color scheme with the blues and the pinks, which are shades of red. I've got yellows, and even a lot of my greens here have some yellow. I kind of want to bring in more of this yellowy green. I might even want to gray it down more here because I want it to be colorful, but I don't want it to be like bleh. Like I want things to also be muted. There has to be this balance, I feel like, of colorful things, but also you bring in your neutrals, right? I mean, I think that's an art thing. While I'm doing this, if you want to head to the comments, let me know. Do you have questions about how to do this sort of stuff? Because I could teach you how to make art, but I sort of assume if you're here, you maybe have that information already. Maybe you know about color and you know about all of the things I'm talking about, but maybe you don't. Maybe you have some questions, and you can leave those in the comments. I would be happy to answer any kind of questions. Okay, we're not thinking too much. We're not thinking too much. Let's just put the stuff in there and we're going to try to be as curious as possible without thinking too much. That's going to have to go. Let's put in another little cute bloom here. I woke up, I thought I'm going to get into the studio, I'm going to paint. It's not hot, the sun is out, but I'm also feeling a little, hmm, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm feeling kind of not directionless. I don't know. Like I just want to paint. I think I'm feeling a little bit hesitant because I really liked how this was coming through the other day, and I'm just afraid overworking it is going to ruin it. Maybe I'm too close to it. Maybe I've been looking at it on my phone and the pictures I have of it. And maybe I've been thinking about it too much. Maybe I've been dreaming about it too much. And so I have a certain something in my head that honestly I'm not even 100% aware of. I don't think that makes any sense, but I'm not like 100% aware of where I want it to go. But there is something concrete in my head. I can feel it that is telling me I want it to be a certain way. You got to have some kind of desire to bring them to life, right? But there's also being too attached to the outcome of something. I think that isn't usually going to help us too much. It's going to create a lot of anxiety. It's going to make me feel like a failure when it's not, when it doesn't happen that way. Who wants to feel like that? Really interesting thing, art making, right? It's so strange. Like it's fun, but also it can like torture you in a way. I really love all of these marks. I'm not sure how well they come through. I think what I might start doing now is cutting in the background, but I need to make sure there isn't more I want to keep. Well, I don't have to make sure. I can always add more. All right, I'm going to start cutting in the background because I don't know. So I'm kind of terrible. I never wash my brushes. Shouldn't say never. I mean, occasionally I wash my brushes, but very often I don't. I don't wash them. I don't change the water. I just add more water, and it's happened more than once that let the I let the brush jar dry out and ruin a whole bunch of brushes. That's why I don't buy expensive brushes. All right, I'm gonna start with some, I don't know, sort of trepidatious marks here because like the background is fine to a degree, but also it's not. I don't know. Let's just start throwing color around. I know I don't like that balloon there. This is not wet enough. So I got a little mister here. I just do that, just enough water. Oh yeah, to start moving that paint around. Oh, still smells like Mr. Clean. I cleaned out one of those Mr. Clean Freak bottles. Oh, it doesn't do anything to the paint, but see, this is because I have a dirty brush, dirty paint water, and but it really doesn't bother me. I'll just blend the paints on the canvas. In a way, I kind of want to dial back the background to make the flowers pop, but I don't. They might have the opposite effect. we can go in with certain intentions and it'd be like you could have done this before, but in a different painting perhaps. But that doesn't really mean anything. Not in my experience anyway. You can be like, oh, but I've done this and it works, but I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't. See, I'm gonna get rid of this guy. Oh boy, let's do it. I don't know about his big yellow friends, but we'll see. Kind of attached to those big yellow friends there. See what my goal is to paint flowers, but also no. Like my goal is to paint abstracted flowers. What I want to do is create a vase of flowers that is representational, that you can tell what it's meant to be, but also has just this play of shape and color, various forms and all of that. Like there's a composition that doesn't have an attachment to being a vase of flowers. I think that makes sense, but who knows? I want to create a vase of flowers that has like the emotion of a loose abstract too, but is more abstract than that. I don't know how to say it, you guys. You know, I have done some writing in my life, but if words came as easily as painting stuff did to me, then I would still be doing that writing stuff, right? Like, I'm a visual artist. So a lot of times I see something in my head that I don't know how to put into words, or I feel something that I don't know how to put into words. And I paint it. I paint the feeling. And what I'm looking for in my paintings is an evocative sort of moment. So I think that background needs more white, needs more highlights of some kind. And I don't know if I'm using the right brush. I'm going to stop mixing it into this. But I want it to blend. Where do I want it? See, there's too much paint on here right now. Might have to wait to work that background again. Because I like this here a lot. Yeah, and I think I'm going to want that through something like that in different areas as well. What do I think about those big yellow blossoms? So I'm considering taking out the big one on the far left. I'm also thinking about taking out that yellow one too. Here we go. And I can add more flowers on top of what I just painted. Still got those two big ones at the top, but All right, how are we feeling about the lower right pink big flower? And then I start to get like, shit, it's getting too tight now. It's getting too tight. I'm refining it too much and it's going to lose its wildness. A painting that isn't sort of raw and wild is almost scarier to me than a painting that nobody likes. Where I'm at in my life now, I don't really care if anybody likes it. I'm painting for me now. I spent years making art for other people, and I thought that would be my dream job. But no. Turns out anything you do for a long period of time that doesn't feel authentic or whatever starts to become something you dislike. This is a mess, but like maybe that's what I want, right? If I get rid of that, that's going to get rid of the more wildness that I want, and I can add more of that over here. I feel like that has to stay though. There's something about that. There's a feeling that this painting is giving me that I need that. It's not crayon dash, it's Caran dash. Hmm. Maybe we'll play with these for a minute. See, these, you might think this is black. It's not. It's a really deep navy blue. And it's not marker, or the, what's this called? The crayons aren't even coming through on this. My Swiss crayons that everybody seems to have now. I think they must have done a really good marketing campaign at some point. Because I don't want to lose my darks, you know. And you got to go in and add them again, and then they don't look 100% natural. So then you have to go back in over that, and it's just layer after layer after layer. It gets a little tedious. I mean, I realize that layers add so much interest, but maybe I'm just impatient. Well, I've always been fairly impatient. I can admit that. I don't like to wait for things to happen. You know, sometimes it seems like why does stuff have to take so long? Why is that? I guess that makes sense to everybody else. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Why does it have to take so long? These are the non-water soluble Caran d'Ache crayons. That's probably not going to come through great on the video there. I can see it. And I'm just sort of making marks that are going to help hopefully keep this thing feeling a little more expressive. You know, there's a desire to like make all the lines make sense and make blooms make sense and all that. And I think that's what I'm trying to really get rid of. I don't want to have to feel like I'm struggling to see, that doesn't come through at all. Struggling to make these things make sense. Then they won't look the way I want them to. They won't have that wow abstracted kind of thing if I'm like, well, you know, flowers need stems, or you know, whatever. Like I'm going to go back in and darken up these with the blue. Actually, flowers don't have blue stems. I don't care. Flowers can have any color stem I want. You know, we need something here, right? Just not too big. Maybe some smaller things. Just do some light, little sketchy stuff. And when the paint is dry, I can come back through and add that stuff to it. Yeah. Like a little sticky stuff with stuff on it. Not sticky like honey sticky, but like kind of like sticks. And another one down in here. You know, I work in special education, and it is next to painting, it's probably my life's passion. You know, I realized in my 40s that it was something I had to do. So now I'm getting a bachelor's in special ed. I probably should be working on that right now, but can't stop from wanting to get in and paint. And when the school year starts, I'm not going to have a lot of energy for anything else. So I guess in knowing that, you know, there's a part of me that knows that I'm not going to have the energy. And then the days are going to get shorter. There won't be good light in the studio by the time I get home, if I have any kind of energy at all. And so I use summer paint. For some reason, I feel bad about not doing the things that I should be doing. Actually, I don't feel bad. I feel kind of anxious because I really want to get that degree. I really want to be done with it. I have no patience left for it. Like, I don't know when in the world I'm going to have to know biology, but apparently that's a course you have to take. Get a degree in special ed. Let's do something with this guy, right? The base is boring. Holy moly. I don't know. Just pick a brush, doesn't matter. Pick a brush, any brush. So I'm going to put a little phthalo blue over it, which is a very transparent color. I'm going to just sprayed it with a little water, as you can see. I love that little mister. And if I decide when I back up that this is too bright, I can wipe it off. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of love that. You know, when I do these painting videos and I watch them back through to like edit them and stuff, it's almost like the way like football coaches do that sort of thing, where they, oh man, we could probably paint that, where like they're dissecting the plays or whatever, and football players do that too, right? I need a smaller brush. I want an itty bitty brush. All right, I'm just going to put these in for now. If I want to, I will paint over them. Something I was told once in art school is that odd numbers tend to draw the eye in more than even. So you might have a tendency to be like, want to put even things in. I have a tendency to want to put odd things in because of that. Because I'm like, needs to be odd. It's better art if there's an odd number of little details. Ooh, I don't know. That's just a pretty color. See? Yeah. I'm probably going to darken that green up, but I don't know. Kind of dig that. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you feel like you have a good understanding of color? I was watching a video the other day and someone made it sound, and she's been teaching for years. So I feel like maybe she knows something, but she made it sound like it was innate. Or I heard somebody say something like, if you don't feel like you have a lot of talent for color, do we think that's a talent? I feel like it's a skill that I learned over time to like look at a color and be able to match it with paint and with just primaries. But maybe it's because I was broke when I was young and all I could afford were primaries. And I actually had to wait for people to give me little primary gift sets and then use it sparingly. I made very small artworks back then. I don't know. Do you feel like it's something that you know or something that you have to learn? I mean, I think it's both, but I feel like it comes natural too. And I feel like the idea that you would mix, people talk about stuff getting muddy. So the idea that you would like mix green and red on the canvas at the same time, both of them wet, and not realize that that was going to turn into brown or purple and yellow or blue and orange for that matter. Any complementary color is going to turn to brown when you mix it with its complement. Every time. It'll be a different shade of brown, but that's what happens. And it surprises me that it maybe that's not known. And I don't want to sound art snobby about it. I don't know, it's just fascinating to me. Do you guys feel like that's something that's like to me that's intuitive? Do you feel like that's intuitive? Or do you feel like it's something that you have to spend some time remembering and learning and all of that? Hmm. I don't know. I'm just curious what you think. because I feel like that's something, I don't know, I feel like it's something I've always known, but I'm sure that's not true. But I did take a lot of art classes as a younger kid at school. I mean, we didn't have the money for me to take fancy art classes. It was all a school thing. Yeah, I was raised in, I was born in the late 70s and raised in the 80s and 90s. And my mom was 17 when I was born. And we had to live with grandparents. But we also eventually, after moving around a bit, um, had a place of our own. And my mother had to work a lot to make sure we could eat. She did a great job making sure of that. Um, but there were a lot of years where things were tight. No, I don't want to mess with that. So definitely didn't have the whole going to fancy art classes at the museum in town or something like that. That was not a thing. It has to come down. All right. I don't know how long I've been chattering on. Ooh. You know what I want to do, you guys? This thing has been sitting there since probably last July or August. I want to say July. And I have not been able to figure out how to finish it. And I think I might have some ideas now. I think I might be able to do it. But that might be another video. And that could be fun. We could do some abstract landscape stuff for a while and get away from the florals for a little bit. I don't know if I'm ready, but if we do, it'll definitely be next time. I've been chatting long enough. See you then.